Hey YouTube, how y'all doing? I wanted to get on here and talk about over-explaining. Now, usually when people over-explain, it's a person like me. I've made a video before and I've talked about that I'm a people pleaser. So we get to the point we start over-explaining things to people and telling things that aren't even necessary. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Someone that was close to me was wondering where and what did I do with my time. And I'm sitting there showing them play by play what I'm doing with my time. Why did I do that? Because I want the person to like me, or I want the person to love me more, or I just want the person to understand. And guess what? Most of the time they're not going to understand, because if you're doing that to them, over explaining, usually you've done it before and you know that they don't understand you. So you sit there and you reach out and start telling them things that are not even necessary, you know. And it's a toxic trait. It's definitely a toxic trait. But God showed me, like, stop over explaining yourself to demonic energies, you know, because guess what? It's not even necessary. Either they're going to believe you or you're not. Because even after showing the person my time, what I was doing, how long I was on the app, how much I made, guess what? They didn't care. They still treated me the same. And I had to do that a lot as well in my relationship because, my husband was very controlling. And it's like, it got to the point where I had to start pulling back, especially towards the end when I was getting ready to leave the relationship. That last year of the relationship, I didn't even let my husband know where I worked, because he would sit there and like I said, I'm over explaining things and everything, telling him where I work, what I do, how many men are there, because he was jealous. All this type of stuff that I got to sit there and tell him to keep him comfortable. And I thought he was going to be comfortable, but wasn't. So all the over explaining and the energy that I put towards that was for no reason at all. So eventually, like I said, towards the end, I would just have him drop me off at a gas station and walk 2 blocks. And he eventually got pissed off about that, and I had to start catching the bus or getting rides from somewhere else, because it was like he didn't like that he didn't have control over me. And that's what it is. When somebody, you have to over explain yourself to them, usually they are controlling you. Look how they're controlling your behavior. You're sitting here coming out of your box, out of your sanctuary, and you're sitting there letting them know, well, I do this because of this reason and that reason and the other reason, and they're eating it up because guess what? They got control over you. And I don't want nobody having control over me but the good Lord. So if you see yourself over explaining all the time, you may have to realize that it's a toxic trait that you have to work on. And I'm still working on it. I mean, I can go up and just sit there and tell somebody, not just anybody now, because like I told you, I'm reserved. This is for family members and close friends usually. But I'm telling them stuff that, like, why did I even say that? I can walk through with a plate of chicken and say, I got me some chicken. You didn't have to tell them that. If they wanted to see what is on your plate, you can just look over and see what's on my plate. But it comes from being in, relationships, any kind of relationship. It can be a parent-child relationship. It can be a love relationship. It comes with those type of relationships that the person is very controlling. And when that person is controlling, you start falling into that behavior. And it's like one of those behaviors that it takes a lot from you. It's like, why am I doing that? And I don't want to do that. I got to over explain myself just so you can love me or like me. Mm-mm. Obviously, you don't if I'm doing it. Obviously, you don't care about me. You love me in the sense of, hey, you're my family member, or you love me in the sense of, hey, you're my friend, or you love me in the sense of, hey, you're my partner. But no, really, you don't. That's not love, that's controlling. I mean, you know good and well that love does not feel like that. So stop over explaining yourself to these demonic energies. Save a piece of yourself. If you catch yourself doing it, you can stop mid sentence and be like, mm-mm, I'm not even going to say that. That's what I have to do now. Mm-mm, I'm not even going to say that. That ain't worth my time. I will shut down in a minute like a closed door, and they'll be sitting there looking confused. I'm not going to sit there and do this with you. I'm not going to over explain myself, because guess what? You can't treat me the way that I need to be treated. I'm not going to give you that energy anymore. And you can't control me no more. Yes, you cannot control me anymore. But that is one thing as far as over explaining. If you find that that trait is something you can live with, I get it. Sometimes we have to coexist with people because maybe you need a place to stay or whatever it is. You're married. You're like, I don't know. But if you're able to get out of it, I advise you to do so, because it will literally destroy you. Because over explaining is just a small piece of that. That person has other issues, and the over explaining is really like just like a, not a tactic, I want to say, but it's something that helps you to cope with the person. And why are you doing all that to cope with a toxic person? No, baby, no, baby, no. Don't do it. Thank you guys again for watching my videos. I really appreciate you guys. I'm up to 230 subscribers, and for that, I thank you, and for that, I am grateful. Bye, YouTube.